Marchan Adkins. I'm originally from Rockford, Illinois, but I spent a lot of time around the rest of the country. I spent some time in the military, came back home to Illinois and worked as an IT engineer, but never could get away from my first love, which is track and field. Was really into mentoring young folks, and that's how I met Dr. Ware. He helped me launch my first solo program, and we grew it to about almost 200 athletes in Bloomington, Illinois, and I mean it was great. But that was my love and in my heart because we impacted so many lives. And the one thing about it is, you think you're out there, impacting their life, but they in turn, turn around and impact yours, because you got kids that you coached 20, 30 years ago that you still call on a daily or weekly basis and stuff like that. So no, that was a good thing. But through those travels, I was blessed to be asked to be in AAU leadership. First at the state level, and then at the regional level, and most recently, the last several years, I've been leading at the national level, even to advance beyond track and field, and where I'm now serving as the second vice president of AAU that covers all sports, and I'm also co-chair of the track and field committee, the national track and field committees. Yeah, life's been good. Life's been very busy, but it's been good. I love what I do. They say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So I guess I don't work.
I'm right with you. I don't work either. I go to the office from time to time. Then I get to go hang out at a track. So
But
yeah,
we just never know what Dr. Ware gonna do, because when I met him, he said he wanted to teach, right? So he taught for a few years. Coach won a state championship. And then next time we went to lunch, he talking about he gonna be a chiropractor. you know, he went. Not only you get a bachelor's degree, then he work get a master's degree in education and stuff like that. And then if that ain't enough, we got to go be a doctor and actually work on people and keep him attached to the sport. But yeah, very very impressive young man and dear friend and brother. One of the most amazing relationships I got in my life.
That's awesome.
yeah, we
That
we we go way back.
Yes, yes,
Way,
sir.
way back. I was telling Coach Ina how you got me started in the coaching
Mhm,
before we did our
mhm.
USA stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
You got your certification.
Yeah, and you've definitely been a person, excuse me, that he's mentioned often because before we hopped on, I'm like, Coach, I know this name. And again, separate from AAU, I'm like, wait a minute, you said this is your buddy, like the time, like your coach from way back. And he's like, yeah, yeah, that's Marshawn. I'm like, okay, I thought so. So the AAU thing is an added entity to the work you've been doing. You both have been doing with athletes. How do you feel like that's allowed you to just grow your reach, right? Like, because you're not only dealing with track athletes, but you're now able to tap into every sport. So how you use your experience to kind of expand.
Well, I mean, I think like people like me and Dr. Ware, we just do what we do. We love people. We love engaging, young athletes and even mentoring other coaches and things like that. We just very giving. Uh, it's just like a gift that God has given me, to connect with youth. And the thing about it is, like, I never sought out to for any other lofty position or whatever. I was asked to do these things. It's like your gift makes room for you. You just organically, go where you're destined to go. Your path is already set. All you're doing is just following the footsteps.
I like that your gift makes room for you. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to use that one.
Yeah, like I'm literally put on my pen and write
Let me scribble
a
that down.
Marchan quote. Right, a Marchan quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm a man of faith, and then, like a lot of these are just biblical principles. That you talk about, exercising your faith, and then like being, blessed to do things that's even beyond your comprehension. Even with one thing I failed to mention is that I'm a techie. So is Jermaine. Jermaine's a techie
Yeah,
too.
he is. He is.
He's a
He
straight up
is.
techie. So
Yeah, he is.
I ain't by myself. So that was another thing that connected us. So I kind of blended my gift of computing because I worked as an IT professional most of my professional life and with sports. So I own a sports technology company that I've been blessed to do all the way from youth to high school. I'm the primary service provider for Illinois high school state championships. I've also done NCAA championships. I've done AAU national championship, USA national championships, and even a lot of pro stuff. But that's that gift and just being able to go out there and applying technology to address some of the needs in sports. And I think that's one of the reasons why my company has grown the way it has.
You don't tell them what the company name is.
It's Adkins Track Timing Associates.
We don't, and it's a family affair. Rode up on me the other day. All the kids working.
Yeah, but it's also nationwide. We employ about 48 individuals from around the country. We have as far out west as in Oakland, California. Out east is Baltimore, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, all over. Just blessed to meet a lot of people, and we even got about 12 people working for us in Louisiana.
Now the meet because I came up to your meet not too long ago up in Chicago. Tell us a little bit more about that meet, how it came about, what it's all about. Tell us a little bit about that.
So that meet right there is the AAU Northern Indoor National Championships, right? So that's a meet that like in the north, like we can't go outside and run, especially today.
Right.
Like all the tracks are filled with snow, and so indoor competition is especially important to all athletes up north that run track and field. This meet was designed to kind of fulfill that need, but at a very high level and competitive level. So we put on this elite meet. And so I've taken a lot of components that I've seen at either the collegiate or pro level, and I wanted to bring that experience to younger athletes, right? So they can come in. They come in. There's a lot of recognition there. There's like for all of these great performances. So we recognize the top 8 finishes. It's not just the top 3 walk home with the blingage. We let all top 8 go home with medals, and they're not just very like small medals. They
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Oh, real nice.
They either make you act right.
You said the top 8 finishers get medals?
Top 8 finishes, so like we put a lot into it. And then not only that, we have the top 3 teams with overall team scores get trophies, and those trophies are life size. It's 6 feet tall.
They are big. So
Yeah.
This is primarily a club meet, obviously.
It's club non-attached. And then we also recognize an MVP in track and field in every age group, starting at 8 and under, the 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we give like 36 MVP plaques. Then we also give 44 team trophies. So for every age division, the teams that score, the top two teams that score in each division. So if you got a small team that may be focused like around the 8-year-olds or the 9-year-olds or 10-year-olds, you know, you got an opportunity to make some noise where you may not have a full team. You know, you may be a grade school teacher, but that has, 6 or 8 of your kids, and you're just keeping them busy during the winter. And you see teams that are constructed like that, they're able to come back with a team trophy in that division to really kind of show what their strength is, even going up against some of these teams that have 100 or 200 athletes and stuff like that. So we try to find ways to recognize everybody, and I think that's one of the big things. When I put on an event, I don't want it to be everybody has been to a track meet, but I want the event to be an experience, a memorable experience, something that you say, hey man, I got to mark my calendar and come back to this, and it just seems like it's like a fraternity of us, like everybody wearing like Wisconsin jerseys or something like that, you know,
Not Wisconsin. No, no.
or even Indiana, But it's like all of the coaches they come there, and I don't hear any bickering or anything, and the place was just packed out, and so it was just nice just to see the camaraderie, and then the people come around and support. And then like the one goal was to just bless the athletes that came out, and those kids, they left there with some big old smiles.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, getting one of them medals alone, when you talk about the impact and influence that this has on those athletes and how that's going to keep them yearning to come back year after year because of, like you said, the experience. That's really important. It wasn't just a regular meet. Like
Right.
everybody could get something regardless of
Yeah.
how big or small their team was and things like that. So that's really
Yeah, I
dope.
mean, you try to think of ways to be a blessing to people, because like just think of it like you're hosting Thanksgiving at your house. You want everybody that comes through your front door to feel like they're a part of the festivities. They feel loved and respected, and then when they from the time they get there to the time they leave, and then you have that experience, and people want to come back, and that's what I want. I think that's part of being a good ambassador for the sport. And I think sometimes we don't look at it as that way, but when you're engaging in the sport, it can't be about money. Like I meet a lot of people that say, hey, yeah, I want to do this so I can make some money. I'm like, man, if you're leaving with money, I said, anybody that works with me or works for me, one, we're gonna do the event, we're gonna do the event right, and then at the end of the day, if we do everything the way we're supposed to, the money will make itself. So you can never have a money first mindset, because if you do that, you're focusing on the wrong things. You're gonna miss that kid. You're gonna miss being a blessing to your target audience. The target audience is not the bank.
Now you're talking about money, and AAU's a big outfit. So people have, they've had their beef with AAU about whatever, but AAU's doing some newer things, right? They're not just collecting people's money. So there's a
Right.
couple of initiatives that AAU is doing that's moving in a different direction. Can you share a little bit about those two things and how that impacts, things moving forward?
So like there's a benevolent side of AAU. It's called AAU Cares. AAU Cares is very very holistic. We try to address things like we have a humanitarian side. Like for instance, when the hurricanes came up and they blasted a lot of stuff like in the Carolinas, like Western Carolina, like Asheville, like where you went to coaching school at. There's a lot of people that were without food, while they we donated. We made a big donation to the American Red Cross
Wow.
to address those needs. AAU as an organization. Additionally, at every national championship, there is a AAU Cares project. For instance, I think like our Taekwondo, they did something, and that was like what's the pet it's like paws or whatever, the animal shelter.
Yeah, like an animal
Mhm.
shelter, a pet
American
adoption.
Like Habitat for
Society.
Humanities.
Yeah. So like they raised a lot of money to give to the Humane Society. We've done blood drives. There was like one event we held a few years back. One athlete that I had mentored back in the day, he had leukemia, and then so one of the things that I found is that there aren't a lot of African American donors. Like so like to be able to have a blood transfusion and things that nature. There weren't a lot of people that had blood matches. So what we did a blood drive. We had people willing to be donors and things that nature. Want to increase the pool of eligible people. So if somebody has leukemia, now you have somebody, it's better chance to have a match. So that's the humanitarian and benevolent side. But there's also an AAU reads. This is um, uh, an area where we work with authors. We identify authors. And we have books that are targeted towards, like our constituency, our base, and then so we want kids to be able to have good books to read and good books to prepare them for life and society, and even Dr. Ware's books that help and prepare you for college. So things like that would fall under the AAU Reads deal. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the urban initiative. Urban initiative is like you look at these major cities like Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, and things of that nature, New York. Man, there aren't a lot of opportunities for low income kids, right? So we know that we have to create opportunities. And so the urban initiative is where we actually partner with other non-for-profits that have taken initiative in urban areas and help support that. And so it's not like AAU's going out there reinventing the wheel, but
Mhm.
AAU is seeking ways to support people doing good things. Like, for instance, here in Illinois, down in East St. Louis, we've identified like what Jackie Joyner Kersey's doing. Jackie Joyner Kersey is our new ambassador. Jackie, man, she has a whole community center. They have like after school programs where kids come in, and many of them are low income. They feed them. They have like things that help them with tutoring and things of that nature. And then they have like a reading program. She started, I think, with kindergarten, right? Like so, and we know that like when kids are, when they get to 9 or 10 years, that those are the formative years where they really gotta, lock in reading and things of that nature. So they started with kindergarten, and I think they're up to the third grade now, where they maintain the students that they started with in kindergarten, and then they add another grade, and they're keeping up with that, and just adding more to the fold. So we're going to be doing things to assist that along, and then also encouraging other people in other communities to do things like that. So that's one of our big initiatives this summer is to really showcase what Jackie's doing, and then also lending a hand to support her, but also encouraging people in other communities to do the same.
I was going to say, Marchan, what does it look like for coaches to get involved with these initiatives? Because this is new to me, and I think these are amazing. Speaking of the fact that we coach athletes in the summer, so how can coaches get involved as well as getting their athletes involved in some of the
And I think it's a lot of just networking and reaching out, and I think so, a lot of coaches they stay in their own bubble, and they coach their kids, they go to school,
Mhm.
and then they go home. But like, you got to also be resourceful. I think that's one of the things that Coach Ware and I, when we had our program, we were engaged with our kids. We took kids on college visits. We did a whole lot more than just coach, doing the X's and O's. And then, you got kids that call us dad, uncle, like big brothers, and
Mhm.
and all that stuff. But the key thing is that you love to see them go across the finish line, but you ultimately want to see them go across the stage and be successful in life. And I think, like, giving them those life skills, those tools to put in their toolbox to address life issues. Those are things that I think are the most important, to be able to succeed in life. And then for me, Coach Ware comes from two very blessed parents. And in fact, his mom and dad were kind of mentors of mine as well. I love them both. But I grew up differently. I grew up without a father, so my push to be out here with the kids was to give them something that I never had. So that
Mhm.
that fueled my passion
Mhm.
to go out there, and then we coached all kids. Kids from affluent backgrounds. We also looked at taking kids who couldn't afford clothes on their back, or shoes on their feet, and we made sure that they were good. Either it came from our pocket, or we were just resourceful enough to seek other alternatives to make sure that these kids had what they need to
Mhm.
be successful. And I think part of coaching is doing that very thing, and not just being satisfied. Well, I taught them how to do this. I taught them how to
Mhm.
go over hurdles and everything. But what about these life hurdles? Like,
Mhm.
how can you're dealing with a child that ain't eight. So, like, how can you deal with that? And then a lot of times it's just talking to them. Letting them know you care. I think
Mhm.
is one of the key things. I think, like, that authenticity, meeting kids where they are, and then taking them on a journey, and just letting them know that they can succeed at every turn.
Would you say now, with the evolution of sports in general, and you know how you said you don't lead with money, do you see a shift in a lot of the mindsets of coaches for the better or for the worse? I mean, you know, growing up and having coaches, like, they were your uncle, aunt, a dad figure, a mother figure.
There's a whole lot less volunteerism. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? So, like stuff that we did. I ain't never got paid to coach. I mean, except I coached at the collegiate levels. I coached at Illinois Wesleyan University, wind up winning 4 national championships while there. Um, but youth side, man, we never, man. But you got programs. They're charging kids four, five, six, eight hundred
Yeah.
thousands of dollars to be a part of their program, and these coaches get stopped. Nothing. Ain't
Right.
knocking nobody.
Right.
That
Right.
just wasn't my ministry. You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
My job is, go out and cultivate, and usher kids into this track journey. And I never felt led to pay, even though I had a few affluent kids. They say, hey, would you do some private coach with me? I'll pay you. I said, I can't charge. I never charge. And if I charge you, I feel like
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
be less than everybody else that I coach for free.
Yeah.
Right.
Coach Ware and I tell our athletes all the time, we're not doing it for the money, because I don't think they realize.
No, I mean, it ain't enough money in the world
But I
to
was
put
saying,
up with
but they
some of
need
this
to
nonsense.
understand, like, it's a different level of love
Yeah.
that we bring into the
Yeah.
table when it comes
Mhm.
to it. It's not like, oh yeah, we showing up here because we about to be
Right.
buying a new car off
Right.
of this off what
Right.
we make. It's not that.
Right.
It's we're here because we want to be here because we enjoy it. We like seeing y'all grow. We love seeing
Hmm.
y'all show out and be better and all that type of stuff. Now, I did want to ask when you were talking, like, this NIL thing is changing the game
Hmm.
in a sense of we've seen a trend over the years of like people who kind of like kid is already good, they'll come in and snatch him, and then I know they're charging them something, so they're obviously paying to work with this person or these people or whoever they are. How do you think that's going to impact the sport long term and collegiate athletics? Because you could have a great team this year and have a whole new team next year. You got to recruit your athlete every year.
I think it's some good and bad in that, because like I think if you think like on the collegiate level, some colleges like, hey, they give you your little bit of money, and they hadn't really taken really good care of kids. I think one, it really pulls on them to really take care and retain the talent that they have. And, but the flip side is that track and field is not a revenue generating sport on the collegiate side or high school side or any other side, right? So what winds up happening is, like if you look at those marquee sports like football, basketball, and things like that, that draw the crowds. Those sports, those athletes are getting the lion's share of the spoils, of the NIL. Those they're getting the numbers, and then to the point to where there isn't money to fund, some track and field programs. And so I think track and field is taking a hit, and track and field on the men's side has been taking a hit for a while because of
Title
the
IX.
Title IX and gender equity, whereas I think like I don't know if there's a school in like West Virginia that even has men's track. Like, you think like they gave up their men's track program to make sure that they got a real solid football program. Yeah,
It really
and
doesn't make sense because if you want a good football team, you probably should have a good track team to go with it.
but see the problem with NCAA, you can't give a football guy a track scholarship. Their scholarship has to come from the football side. So a lot
Well,
of times, what they would do to skirt the issue, they would football coach was cool with the track coach. The football coach would say, "Hey, give him a track scholarship. I ran out of money, but that kid is really, getting paid to play football."
yeah.
So that's why you had those rules like that.
Uh,
Yeah. And I know there was like partial people who did like a half and half sometimes.
hmm
I don't think not in football. Football you couldn't do that because of that very because
Yeah.
of the abuse.
Well, that's an interesting dynamic. And I think it should be a good I mean, I would think at some point, like with what Michael Johnson's doing with this track slam series, and in between the Olympics, and then the Olympics going to be in the US in 2028. I
2028.
would think that maybe track is going to gain a little bit more notoriety because it seems to be the biggest thing outside of gymnastics and swimming, right? Gymnastics,
Yep.
swimming, track, those are the big Olympic events. I really couldn't tell you many other things that happened in the Olympics. Like somebody said breakdancing was a thing. Okay, we saw that.
Breakdance is one and done.
One
That's
and
it.
done. One
Yeah.
and done.
But I'm just saying, like you would think it would gain more notoriety, get a little bit more fan base, a little bit more fanfare around it when you got people like Gabby Thomas, who's like a great spokesperson for the sport, and you have all these different people coming up. I would like to think that it would be maybe it does start to generate a little bit more revenue. I know they're going to have the Big Ten championships here in Indianapolis this year for indoor anyway. So I'm curious to see how that turnout is, and it may be more than just, the track heads, start to come out to see what's what. But I was just wondering like that impact on high schoolers, like the pressure to maybe get an NIL deal, for a college, or how colleges would start to pool, or maybe they did a little something extra, for those athletes, even though the main draw for a track athlete is we can get you to the Olympics, right? Because that's where
Right.
the real money comes in. Although you could make money though, now.
Yeah, it's a little tougher. I think you're going to see a lot of changes over the next couple years because the NCAA just been holding on by a thread because of a lot of its abuse and how it's made money off of athletes in the past and not really having to give them anything, And I think so you got a little bit of karma, you got a little bit of they're trying to cave in and trying to be a little bit more fair because they know they're hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it all plays out. Marchan, we appreciate you joining us, sharing this little bit of information about you and getting this AAU thing going. Curious to see how all that plays out with the AAU Cares and some of the other initiatives they have. I'm really interested.
It's all evolving, and the thing is, like, you don't want to be a part of a stagnant organization. You want to be a part of something that's growing. And I think, like under the leadership of our new AAU president, he's very forward thinking, and he wants to address not only the ills of every sport, but the ills of society and things of that nature, and have a more holistic approach to just being an organization that deals with the young people.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a really cool individual.
Yeah, and then and then athlete protection is a strong emphasis there too, like making sure that the athletes in the sport are protected. We have one of the strongest um, uh, background checks in the game, is just making sure that the athletes that are being coached are being coached by reputable people and things like that, because a lot of these programs, you got a lot of people that fly under the radar, and you turn out that they're not even they're trying to skirt the background checks and stuff like that, and then they got felony records and ain't the greatest people. Just trying to address a lot of things. Being in this role, I get to see, and my consciousness has just been raised to a level to where I got to think even different than I thought yesterday. Keeping your head on that swivel.
Right.
Football term, you see Jermaine right there.
Yeah.
Man, I enjoyed tonight. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to my bro.
Yes.
And my new sis.
Yes, I was gonna say it's nice to formally meet you because I've heard so much about you, for sure.
Yeah, he been talking about you too. Yes.
All right. We appreciate you.